organization, which gender, which region, but the Senate exists kulinda ugatuzi na kulinda katiba. Having said that, we have already gone through this report, and the Auditor General has given us an overview of the issues that have been resolved and the issues that remain outstanding. I know that the clerk had put in an informal request if you could have come in earlier, but you indicated that you had other appointments. If you would have come in earlier, we would have had more time to discuss many aspects of this report. But you have appeared before us under oath. You have tabled your written responses. We will take your written responses and use them to process our recommendations, after which, in a period of 60 to 90 days, we shall reinvite you to explain how you have implemented our recommendations. Unless there is a matter that you feel your written responses do not address sufficiently that requires your explanation, I will give you that opportunity. But since you have submitted your written responses under oath, even in courts nowadays, courts are able to make decisions on the basis of the filings that have been done by parties. So unless there's a very specific matter. However, there was one matter that we have discussed with the Auditor General that we must bring to your attention. It did not appear in the substantive audit report, and we have agreed with the auditor on how it will be treated going forward. That is the issue of pending bills, or what nowadays we call trade payables. If you notice in your financial statements, you close the year with total trade and other payables of 4.8 billion Kenya shillings. As I've said, it was not highlighted in the Auditor General's report, but those of us who have sat here for quite some time, we know that we have a problem of pending bills in Machakos County due to historical reasons. I do recall at one of our meetings, Governor, since you have been appearing before this committee consistently, I do recall in one of our meetings you even proposed that we could call in the administration of the past to deal with some of the outstanding pending bills. We are concerned that the balance on trade payables is growing. The prior year, you opened the year at 3.3 billion.
Which page are you looking at?
It's on the financial statement, note 32 on trade and other payables. Yeah, on the financial statement. It's not, the auditor had treated it as a prior year matter. Or auditor, can you explain how you had treated this so that it's your words that go on record?
Yes, Chair, that is the case. We are following up on the trade payables.
But we have directed that it cannot be looked at as a prior year matter.
Yes.
Because in prior year the figures were different.
Yes.
This year the figure is growing. This year there was no aging analysis. Or is there an aging analysis in that report? There is no aging analysis. Ideally the auditor would have flagged that to say that the debt of 4.8 is not aged. So we don't know what is current, what is a year, what is over 3 years. And Governor, just hold your horses first. We have discussed it with better analysis on it. But since we can see it, because, you know, Governor, I'm sure you're going to explain that subsequently you paid. But unfortunately, these guidelines is a standard recommendation that we are giving to all counties. Number one, if this 4.8 billion includes staff payables, accountants in the room, how much of this 4.8 is staff payables?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Out of the 4.8 billion, 804 was staff payable. That is salary arrears for June 2025 and 204 million which relates to statutory deduction which we had paid net for April and May. Those amounts of 804 were eventually paid in this year. So the balance remains.
Just leave it there. So that is in line with our recommendation, because we are going to recommend that staff payables must be settled within 90 days. You are saying you have already settled?
Yes, Chair, we have already settled that.
Second, statutory deductions must be settled within 90 days. And you are saying you have already paid 204 million as statutory deductions.
Yes, Chair, we have already paid.
Now, does this total figure, are there pension obligations arise? Very unique,
yes,
especially for a big county like Machakos.
Our last payment was last month.
Now let's distinguish between the current and the historical. LAP fund or LAP trust or CPF, anything?
Let me respond. What Chair, I've clarified that 804 was for financial 24-25, which fall due in year 25-26, and which we settled. But if you go to our pending bills, there is an amount of 325 million, which relates now to that period of devolution.
Correct. But now that's where I'm going to. Our recommendation on those position to the control of budget. The control of budget has released the money, so you have the money. There is no reason why you should keep the money beyond 90 days. But then the historical ones arising from defunct municipalities, we understand the complication, the actuarial valuation, the interest and penalties. Our recommendation is that within 90 days, you need to come up with a payment of budget, the Auditor General and the Senate within 90 days.
Chair, we have to have a payment plan.
A payment plan.
Payment plan. And I can assure you, Chair, we are up to date.
Fine. Let's go to the fourth arm of it. Now you have debt owed to service providers, contractors, etc. Unfortunately, your financial statements does not disclose the age of your debt. You have not done an aging analysis, which the Auditor General should have queried. But our recommendation is this: any debt that is older than 365 days should be settled. Why shouldn't you pay debt older than 365 days?
Chair, we had not been asked for that, but we have a soft copy on the aging analysis. We have that, the aging analysis. And if you'll allow me, Chair, to say, of course, when I took office, I found a bill of 3,812,556,795. We've verified 2,126,781,000. And from those bills, I've been able to pay 642 million, remaining with 1.4 billion. We have verified legal fees of 921, which the files, 921 million, which the files have been taken by the ESCC. That is for the previous regime. We also have verified of 757 million, which do not have documents. So anything without documentation from the previous regime is very hard for us to pay. If I come to my term as the governor of Machakos, as we speak now, my pending bill is 1.9 billion. I have already processed 275 million in IB. That is already in IB. And for the supplementary budget, we have put 200 million. That brings my pending bill in my time to 1.4 billion. In this coming budget, I have put 847 million for pending bills, which in the previous regime bill, I've put 100 million to bring the bill down. In this regime, because these people have completed their work, I have put 747. Now, that brings my pending bill to, once I pay that, during my regime, I'll have a pending bill of only 740 million. And the one for the previous regime, I would have brought it down to 1.2 billion. So I've been working on it. It's not that I've ignored. There are people who did work in the previous regime and they finished. So I have to work on a way of paying them, balancing that with the work that I am doing now.
But Governor, the previous regime debt would therefore be 1,000 days. Because that's 3 years. Why should debt remain outstanding for 1,000 days? Good financial management should not exceed 365 days.
Chair, if I was to pay all the pending bills I found, I would not have had money for 1 year.
Okay.
Do development for the people of Machakos.
Senator Muruma?
Governor, the bills that you are referring to as your own pending bills, after you pay what you budgeted for, would remain 700 million.
700 million.
What are you planning, when are you planning to pay the 700 million? Because again, that work has been done.
Yes.
The goods and services have been provided.
Yes.
What are your plans?
What I have done, even in the previous one, we are doing fast charge. Any work that is finished, before a department can even procure anything, we have to pay the pending bills, which you have taken it as fast charge.
So we were giving you recommendations.
Yeah.
We were going to recommend that any debt greater than 365 days should be paid. But from your explanation, you're saying we better go with a payment plan.
Yes, Chair, because if I don't do that, I would not be left with any money to run, to even pay salaries and all that, because when you look at the bill for the previous regime, is over 3.8 billion. That is my development
as your own pending bills. After you pay what you budgeted for, would remain 700 million.
700 million.
What are you planning, when are you planning to pay the 700 million? Because again, that work has been done.
Yes.
The goods and services have been provided.
Yes.
What are your plans?
What I have done, even in the previous one, we are doing fast charge. Any work that is finished, before a department can even procure anything, we have to pay the pending bills, which you have taken it as fast charge.
So we were giving you recommendations.
Yeah.
We were going to recommend that any debt greater than 365 days should be paid. But from your explanation, you're saying we better go with a payment plan.
Yes, Chair, because if I don't do that, I would not be left with any money to run, to even pay salaries and all that, because when you look at the bill for the previous regime, is over 3.8 billion. That is my development.
Clear my suspicions, because it is possible that she was not even addressing this committee.
I can clear that.
Oh, no, let's not put the governor on the spot on that. Let me hear if there's any supplementary comments. Maybe she was addressing the governor Nairobi.
Chair, can I go? Thank you. I'm very sure Senator Sifuna is not a stranger in Jerusalem. He fully understands where we are. And for me, I must thank the governor for that statement that she has made. Because, Chairman, that statement settles a lot of things. One of the things that it does, from where I sit, as a leader in this country, as a journalist of long and good standing, it does one thing. It's a demonstration that governors have individually decided to do what is right, and they have defied illegal direction and invitation by an entity called COG to break the law and the constitution. That's what it does to me. And Chair, allow me to also have some bragging rights on this one. Gov.Wavinya Ndeti is a governor elected under the Wiper Patriotic Front ticket. Governor Julius Malombe is elected under the Wiper Patriotic Movement ticket. Those two governors have consistently appeared before this committee and any other committee of the Senate in full demonstration of the principles that their party stands for. That we are accountable and that we don't get instructions from anyone to do what is right. That governor elected on the Wiper Patriotic Front is the only governor in this country who has received unqualified opinion from the office of the Auditor General. The Chairman, that is an indication of where this country will go when Kalonzo Musyoka becomes president. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You are doing very well until you started owning the success. Because even Sifuna has some bragging rights, depending on which Linda he's talking about. But we want to encourage everyone
To clear my suspicions, because it is possible that she was not even addressing this committee.
I can clear that.
Oh, no, let's not put the governor on the spot on that. Let me hear if there's any supplementary comments. Maybe she was addressing the governor Nairobi.
Chair, can I go? Thank you. I'm very sure Senator Sifuna is not a stranger in Jerusalem. He fully understands where we are. And for me, I must thank the governor for that statement that she has made. Because, Chairman, that statement settles a lot of things. And one of the things that it does, from where I sit, as a leader in this country, as a journalist of long and good standing, it does one thing. It's a demonstration that governors have individually decided to do what is right, and they have defied illegal direction and limitation by an entity called COG to break the law and the constitution. That's what it does to me. And Chair, allow me to also have some bragging rights on this one. Gov.Wavinya Ndeti is a governor elected under the Wiper Patriotic Front ticket. Governor Julius Malombe is elected under the Wiper Patriotic Movement ticket. Those two governors have consistently appeared before this committee and any other committee of the Senate in full demonstration of the principles that their party stands for.
Machakos is a bedroom of Nairobi. Machakos is a rich county. Many of us here live in Machakos or do business in Machakos. I'm a bit surprised that Machakos, even if the growth came from hospital fees, could there be a problem here, Governor? If you compare even what you're collecting in hospital fees, even if you are to compare with a county like mine, Homa Bay, you know that Homa Bay has grown largely because of hospital fees, but we seem to be collecting more. And yet, we know that perhaps people in the formal sector, people, even the middle class lives in Machakos. Are these numbers, for example, for the 2.1 billion, what was the budget? What was the target for the financial year?
The target was 3.1. Sorry, the target was 3.9 billion.
3.9 billion, which sounds quite.
Okay.
Machakos, Kiambu, which is another bedroom of Nairobi, is at 5 billion. 5 billion plus. Yeah. So 3.9 sounds like it, but you're only doing 2.1. What are the systemic challenges to achieving the 3.9?
Chair, it's also very important for you to have the historical where we started from. With the hospitals, the first year we collected about 30 million.
30 million?
30 million.
Why? You are offering treatment for free?
We computerized, and when we computerized, we went to over 230 million. The second year, we went to over 700. And again, our hospital revenue goes up because you have people coming from the surrounding counties also, apart from Machakos County. We have people coming from Makueni, we have from Kajiado, from Nairobi. When there are strikes in Nairobi, people move to Machakos. That is how our revenue has also gone up, and also the good services that we provide. And also the system, and also we have computerized our revenue collection.
Governor, allow me, Chair.
Senator Wambo?
Governor, again, yes, there is an influx of patients from surrounding counties into Machakos hospitals, I know actually from my county you receive a lot of patients. For revenue, maybe that's a plus for the county, but in terms of depleting medical supplies, then it's a minus for your county. Now, I wish we would just stick to the question that the chair is asking, that there is a target of 3.9 billion that we are set to achieve for on-source revenue, but you have only managed 2.1 billion. What is the challenge? Is it that you had estimated your capacity to collect, or what really could have resulted to that drop from 3.9, which is the target, to 2.1? There's a difference of what? 1.8 billion.
I have my CEO for revenue, he can answer that.
As you answer, maybe tell us what you collected in the previous year as compared to 2.1 billion in this year under consideration. Okay. And then when you are projecting, you don't project on nothing. What did you think you had done differently to allow you to move to 3.9 billion? What are the challenges?
Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I'm CP Otieno, Chief Officer Revenue. Chair, allow me just to take you back on the previous analysis. Since devolution, the highest on the 10 years of the first governor, the highest revenue that was collected was 1.4 billion. Now, since the administration for governor came in, the first year it was 1.4. The second year it was 1.5. Then the third year, which is last year, it was 2.1. Chair, we appreciate that we have a potential based on, and just to add, Chair, as at 11th, the county has collected 1.9 billion as at 11th of this month. The remaining month in the history of the counties are the wet months. So based on the what we have put in place, we anticipate to get additional of 1.5 billion, running to 1.5 billion for the remaining 4 months, that is, this month inclusive. So we anticipate to close at slightly more than 3.1
No, I think
billion.
you've gone further than where we wanted to go.
Yes.
You see, as a Senate, we like to take a policy perspective to issues. So when I look at your receipt of revenue statement, there's a statement of comparison of budget versus actual amounts for the year that then illustrates what we are trying to find out. So for example, under cess, you had a target of 831 million, but you only collected 221 million. That was 27% of your target. What was the basis for projecting 831 million as money you're going to collect on cess? Because it's not abracadabra. I'm sure there has to be a method. There has to be a thought process that this year we can collect 831 million in cess. Just take us, what was the thought process? Because you have taken this to the public participation. You have told them we are collecting 831 million in cess. Then you collect 221. Does it mean you collected and pocketed? Or does it mean that there was something, some natural disaster that prevented you from that collection?
Thank you, Chair. Some is caused by some natural attrition that is beyond us. And when we just speak on cess, Chair, sometimes when we have a lot of rains, like what we experienced in the past few weeks, and we experienced it during this year, some of our roads are impassable. We rely on...
Don't be speculative, because that's a period that has passed. So just tell us, this happened, this happened, this happened, and then you'll make our life easy.
Let me try to help. You know, I'm a neighbor in Machakos. You know, the question, Governor, is a very simple question. The projection was 3.9 billion. That's what you wanted to collect. Remember, we are not dealing with 25, 26. We are dealing with 24, 25. We are dealing with the past, not the future or the present. We're dealing with the past. So you had projected 3.9 billion. You collected 2.1 billion. The question that the chair is asking, the committee is asking, what challenges did you encounter that you did not realize your projection, or did you over project? That's a question that is being asked here.
Thank you, Chair. The closure of Ngelani quarries due to non-compliance with the mining regulations significantly affected the county revenue performance during the financial year 2023-2024, in financial year 2024-2025, and the year 2024-2025. Ngelani quarry, located in Machakos County, is one of the county's primary quarry sites and contributes substantially to overall generation of revenue. Consequently, the suspension of operations resulted to reduced output levels and negatively affecting the revenue generation during the affected financial periods.
What was the target for quarrying in your budget?
831.
831 was overall CES, because CES has got four components. It has four components. There's farm produce, there's quarrying, there's livestock, and there's sand gravel.
352 million.
It was 352. That was a target.
Yeah.
And then you actualize 118. Is that the case?
Yes.
You actualize 118.
Yes.
So that still does not really account for that gap of 610 million. And you see, Governor, by the way, it's not a trick question. We are just trying to bring out the things that your officers must explain to you and to the people. When we dealt with Kitui, the governor sitting there realized that there's a problem. When we went to the sand cess in Kitui and saw what was being reported, and divided by the amount charged per truck, it looked like only 5 trucks were being charged in a day. And the governor undertook to go back and do something about it. So this is a conversation that is supposed to open our eyes. It's not supposed to put anyone in problems. That if your officers tell you that it was because of closure of that quarry, that only accounts for 200 million. There's another 400 million that was budgeted and not realized. Was it collected and pocketed, or there was another factor that led to that drop?
Oh, Chair, thank you. Chair, we are cognizant that there are measures that were not put in place, for instance, remapping of our revenue centers. Sales does not only come from quarries, but we also have revenue spots as revenue centers along the highways. That is the barriers. So we've so far make sure that we've done the remapping, and we've closed on all the panya routes that are around Machakos. And that's why we are anticipating now this year to get it further. So this could have contributed to the unrealization of the money from CES.
Another one which maybe some of us here in the room pay is land rates. Is Syokimau in Nairobi or in?
It's in Machakos, Chair.
Is Katani in Nairobi?
It's in Machakos, Chair.
Mlolongo?
Machakos.
So you might find that half of the people in this room are paying land rates to you faithfully.
No, they don't. And they don't. And maybe I need to check everybody.
Okay. Now on land rates, you had a target of on land rates. You previously collected 304 million. You previously collected 304 million. And then in this year, you collected only 181 million. So it dropped by 68%, 123 million. Now you see land rates now, you can't say that climate change, the land disappeared. The land is still there. So how do you explain a 68% drop in land rates? And I think, again, as I said, I'm raising this so that we can get an explanation, not just for the Senate, but for the people who pay land rates in Machakos.
Chair, allow me to intervene and respond, because when we are preparing this response, I get factual information from the technical officers under CEO Revenue. And they are the people on the ground, so they can at least give me facts on the reasons why we end those challenges. It is true that in financial year 24-25, rand rates, we collected 181,168,967. And this year, 80 months, we have collected 247,532,429. So you can see there is that spontaneous increment. What was the reason why
you are highlighting the problem.
You know,
so
Chair, through the chair, we have a reason.
I'm proceeding now to give the reason.
We have a reason.
Now, the reason was this.
Let's hear.
Yeah, the reason was this. In financial year 23-24, towards the end, there was introduction of a new system, Machape. And this system was to ensure now we transition 100% from the old ways of collecting revenue to the new one. So what we end in around January to March, whereby we do collect a lot of money, we faced what we call temporary disruption. Temporary disruption.
23-24.
24-25, January, somewhere there. That is when the system was introduced, Machape. And we faced what we call temporary temporary disruption, whereby the system, as we were guiding the officers to understand it and the likes. Some even logged more than several times, and even the governor was a little bit worried why they were logging more than that. Some even were suspended, but eventually we integrated the system to Kayalewa the challenges, and even they came back. So the challenge was that system. But now they have understood it. We have seen the challenge with the land rate, and we are picking.
When land rates are not paid, they remain in arrears.
Yes.
So it does not disappear.
Yes.
It should not disappear.
It doesn't disappear. It is in arrears.
It remains is it called a receivable? It's accrued.
Mr. Chairman, it becomes a receivable.
It becomes a receivable. So when will we see the effect in year 2?
I think, Chair, what I would tell you, and what I see a lot of people are waiting for, was the valuation roll. And Machakos had stayed for a long time without a valuation roll, which you already got it now, passed in the county assembly, and it's kicking on the 2nd of April. So that brings everyone to pay the current rate. So we are going to see an upsurge, because the interest and all that with the new valuation drop, they get.
Yeah, I think
they get well. So we'll have an upsurge.
There we agree. You'll obviously face political challenges. I know Kiambu tried it, and then all of a sudden rates shot up, and then governors wanting a re-election don't want an uprising. But I think that's a positive one. But let's deal with this thing of Machape and that transition, because it looks like Machakos therefore lost money in the last financial year.
Machakos did not lose any money, Chair, because Machakos did not lose any money on land rates, because the figures are still there. And people have, even if it's the principal, they still have to pay the principal.
That is Machape was not only for land rates. What about the other revenue streams?
Yeah, and that's why if we come to parking fees, it dropped by 21%. So that's a demonstration that there have been loss as a result of the transition. Because the numbers here, Governor, prior year you collected 162 million as parking, And then the year under review, you collected 133 million, leading to a drop of 21%. Now, that sounds like a loss because parking fees are not accrued, unless that's how we are treating it now. Senator Ogwa.
You know, there could be the argument that the money should be collected, but let's also face it, that it was not collected when it was supposed to be collected. Time value for money. Yeah. Somebody may want to ask, I mean, the reason why you buy a new system is to enhance efficiency, right? To collect more in a more efficient way. How much do you spend on this system? Do you have an idea, Governor, how much you spend on the system?
I have my ICT chief officer.
How much do you spend on it?
The ICT chief officer.
How much do you spend, chief officer?
Through chair, we spent nothing on the system.
You cannot have spent nothing. Even the people that were developing it, surely. You are paying them a salary or something.
I think that is not an answer that should go through a governor whose background I understand to be in information systems. You can't spend nothing.
How can you spend nothing on the system? No wonder then in that case, if you want us to take that route, then chief officer, then we'll take that route. Then we'll say cheap is expensive. If you spend nothing, no wonder then you're losing money on a system on which you spend nothing.
You can't spend nothing. You have to pay for licenses, you have to pay for hardware, you have to quantify the time. So that is a political answer. I think let's be a bit professional.
I think, Chair, what he needed to say, that was software. And I think he needs to make himself very clear on that.
Okay, can you give us an answer that takes into account that we understand that subject matter?
Thank you so much. So on the software, actually we did spend nothing. Then on the hardware, actually we implemented on the existing, that is hardware which we already had.
Are you an IT professional?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, please.
What makes you consider yourself an IT professional?
I understand, first of all, on the software perspective, understand the development processes.
What's a qualification that makes you an IT professional?
I have a master's in data communication.
In data communication?
Yes.
So you spend nothing on software?
Yes, we did not buy the software, yes.
What software are you using?
MatchAPI currently, please.
It's an open source software?
No, it's not an open source. I've been developed using .NET.
Well, that is you're talking about the application.
Correct.
It runs on a database. It runs on an operating system.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
The hosting environment, you built that also yourselves?
No, the hosting environment, we are the ones who actually host it. We host it.
Governor, I think for the record, I understand that space.
Yeah.
There is no way, even if you're using open source software, you're going to host an industrial scale application like this without spending something. It runs on hardware.
Correct.
It runs on software.
Correct.
It runs on an operating system. Even if it was Linux, even if it was open source, first of all, I would not, in as much as I'm an advocate for open source, but you must have certain enterprise support for something of this scale. So you might want to look very good that you spent nothing. If you are running this using online open source tools, then you're running an amateur application. There are certain things around security, there are certain things around hosting environment, the operating system, the databases, the audit trails, and all those things that will cost you some money. But if you have done all these things online, like a high school or a university project, then this is a system that needs a thorough system audit. In fact, to avoid, because we had agreed we'll be done with this meeting by 3:30, I think I want the Auditor General to do a system audit on this, because we have been told that when it was rolled out, there was a drop in revenue. A system should not Actually, ideally, when you introduce a new system, you should see a spike. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the conclusion that there's an inverse relationship between automation and revenue growth. So I do not agree with your officer that you can run such an industrial or enterprise solution without spending something on it, because even the people, there's something called man hours, the programming time, the development time, that can be quantified. But for us not to haggle too much, I want the Auditor General to do a systems audit, and then we leave it at that point. Is that fair enough?
That is fair. But Chair, I just want to make clear, maybe what he was saying was the software. Yeah, he should have made himself very clear on the other issues.
Yeah, so I think let's leave it at that so that it's not protracted. Now, Governor, so you can clearly see the questions that you must ask your receiver of revenue, so that when you're coming here, you can explain it to us well and explain it to the people of Machakos. Perhaps the greatest pain is a pain of a market woman who pays money to county employees, and then that money does not find itself in the books. There's a way Kenyans feel like you'd rather steal the money from Nairobi, but not the money from the county. And this report should be able to give us a picture so that we have no doubt whatsoever. But I think your officer has indicated that introduction of the system led to downtime, disruptions, reduction in revenue. I think we need to do the audit to confirm that that was the case.
Yeah, and one thing I want to make it clear to you, Chair, is that we found we don't do cash collection in Machakos County. Everything we do is paid through the pay bill. And so there is no, the people from the market, the women from the market, or anyone losing money. No. There is no cash collection in Machakos County. We have the 1616-1 for the general pay bill number. We have 1616-0 and also we have for health, and we also for matatus. So we have 4 pay bill numbers. The 4th one is for the water. So no cash collection in Machakos County, and we have made that very clear to our people. So I don't see the citizens of Machakos don't lose money by giving people cash.
Okay, fine. So I think the rest of the issues that have been raised under the receiver of revenue report, I hope you have responded to them comprehensively to enable us to do our written responses. Is there any other matter that you'd like us to emphasize? Governor, is there, because I'm saying that since you have tabled your responses, we don't have to go through each issue. Is there any issue in this report where you think that we need to emphasize? Or we can just proceed with the written responses?
I think we can proceed with the written responses.
Fine. Auditor General, is there any comment with regards to set expectations from Machakos? Are they cooperating? Are they responding? And having looked at their nextures, maybe globally, how many issues in your consideration can be considered closed?
Chair, 4.
Only 4 out of?
Yes, out of 17.
Out of 17.
Then we had those that were partly addressed, 9.
So 4 are resolved, 9 are partly addressed. So that leaves us with 4 that are completely outstanding.
Yes.
Okay, so we shall follow up within 60 days to ensure that those matters are closed to the satisfaction of the Auditor General and to the satisfaction of the Senate. Unless there is any other matter from the senators or from the Governor, I think, Governor, we commend you for taking time as required of you by the Constitution to come before the Senate. I hope that the 2 issues that we have discussed globally will trigger some attention on those 2 areas, pending bills and on source revenue, because you said your solution to pending bills is to improve on source revenue. And yet we are seeing that there are still some challenges in terms of on source revenue. So please, as you go back, you can prioritize that I believe the members of the audit committee were also here. You said you are holding forth, or you are the chair of the audit committee?
Chairman, the chair was not able to attend the meeting.
Yes.
So I'm a member of the audit committee.
You have approved the charter, the internal audit charter?
Yes, we have approved that.
In your view, is internal audit and audit arrangements effective and functional in Machakos?
It is effective and functional, and we are proposing a few adjustments to the management to make it more empowered.
Maybe you should have said to make it effective.
Yeah, to make it more effective, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. At least as far as that control is concerned, now we have an audit committee in place. We hope that you're going to add value to the governance of Machakos County.
Maybe auditor, whom do you report to? Whom do you report to?
Thank you, Chair. I report to the audit committee.
Okay. I thought you were a member of the audit committee.
Of course, I'm the secretary, and I report to the audit committee. Functionally.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so OAG, you I think look at the effectiveness. It's one thing to gazette an audit committee, to have a charter, to have an internal auditor, but it's another thing to be effective.
Man, we'll do that, but please allow me to say that the officer there representing the chairman of the audit committee has a long outstanding experience in the office of the Auditor General. And I've had a discussion with him even before this meeting, and he's well versed in the matters requiring this profession. So